and running. So, Ross, did I ask you to go with Jack?
I can.
Or the other way around? You've got coffee and handbag. What's it doing?
Coffee's important.
As important as your lesson plan.
Yeah.
At times, yes.
At times. Right. Okay, so welcome to the session. You all know me, but for the benefit of people who might watch it on video, I will just introduce myself. I'm Simon Harwood. I've been teaching at Madrid Young Learners since 2007. And I've recently done, 2 years ago, did the TESOL diploma. And I've also done the TILET course, I've written one skills course, and I've worked as a coordinator, a learning technologies coordinator, and communications and yearbook. Okay, so that's me. And I've amended the title of the session slightly to engaging teens through tasks and authentic materials. And I'll explain why right now. So, in order to give each session a clear focus. Okay. Do you want to put your table together?
No, because you're going to have a problem. We can see, no problem. But, sorry, Sam.
No,
sorry.
it's okay. Shall I sort of place?
No. I just moved, thank you.
Okay. So, in order to give each session a clear focus, today the focus will be on engagement through tasks. So, we'll be looking at tasks specifically. And in the second session, we'll be looking at tasks with authentic materials. And I decided that there's a lot to say about each. So rather than try and do everything at once, I would sort of split the sessions up this way. Okay? Now, so what exactly are we going to do in these sessions? Or specifically in this session? Well, the session came about really from my experiences on the diploma, in which I had to observe teachers for in some aspects of their teaching. And it's quite a hard decision to make. What do I want to know? Many candidates will choose something like pronunciation or classroom management, those things. I decided what most interested me was just the fundamentals, what works and what doesn't work in the classroom. And that's quite a big topic, and it's kind of an eternal question, and I don't know if you ever truly know what works and what doesn't work, but there must be something. There must be something to it. What do the activities that work have in common? The activities that don't work have in common. So, in this session today, we're going to begin with some theoretical stuff, and then move on to a more practical side. Okay? So, and I think that both things are important. So let's move on. Okay. So, this is a quote which I came across early in my research. The basic building block of a lesson is the activity or task. There we've got two terms, activity and task. I'd like you, with the person next to you, to just discuss for half a minute what you understand by these two terms. Are they different? Are they mutually exclusive? What are they? Go.
Task is a goal, activity, doing something. So goal oriented. Is this a task again?
Yeah.
Task seems to be a shorter, specific.
Okay, let's bring it together. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's enough. So, what you said, activity and task, what have you come up with?
A task, I thought the task might be more goal oriented,
Okay,
but then having thought about it, I don't know if I can really distinguish them.
right. Okay, I think, yeah, a lot of the times they are used very interchangeably. Anything else?
We thought that task had like emphasis, or primary emphasis on meaning.
Okay,
So either producing something which could be tangible or something like an outcome, like evaluating
right.
something.
Okay, you've come up with 3 important terms there. You've come up with goal-orientated, meaning, and outcome. Okay, those are important things. Now, delving a bit deeper, here's a couple of quotes from Jim Scrivener. Okay, a task. We're now talking about a task as opposed to an activity. Something that learners can do that involves them using or working with language to achieve some specific outcome. So, as Susie said, outcome. And we'll contrast that with things that happen in the classroom which are not tasks. So, a teacher standing there explaining the construction of the passive, okay, for a long time. Now, really thinking about the students, what are the students supposed to do? In the second one, what are the students supposed to do?
Listen.
They're supposed to listen and they're supposed to
Absorb the information.
And understand it. Okay. And a lot of times that will be implicit for us. That will be, it's obvious to us as the teachers that that's what we want to happen, but it might not be obvious to the students. Okay. Now, we're going a bit deeper now into tasks. I've heard somebody mention task-based learning. So I'm not going to describe task-based learning in great detail. However, the Willises, who are kind of the creators of task-based learning, Dave and Jane Willis, they have come up with some questions to help us identify what is a task, or rather what is how task-like is an activity. So, if we can answer yes to the questions you'll see here, what the students are doing could be considered more and more task-like. The first one, does it engage learners' interest? Are they involved? Are they switched on, focused, enjoying it? Second one, is their focus on meaning? So, are we talking about what's more dangerous, a volcano or an earthquake? Or are we talking about the present perfect as opposed to the past simple? Is there an outcome at the end of the activity? Is there something we can point to as some kind of result of it? Okay. And do we think that the task or the activity is successful because of that outcome? This is very important. Does it relate to the real world? So, what the students are doing, does it mirror something that would happen outside of the classroom? And the last one, which is not one of Willis's, this is from Noonan, an emphasis on interaction. Okay, so are the students actually communicating with each other? Now, what I did in my research was I took these questions and I analysed what I saw in other people's teaching. Before I show you the next part, these are types of tasks that the Willises have identified. And I think they're all quite self-explanatory. And I'm sure you've all done many types of activities involving these types of So, okay, using this chart, okay, I wrote down what the learners were required to do, and then I simply put ticks in these yellow boxes. Was it communicative? Was it one of the task types you just saw, listing, comparing, etc.? Was there a clear outcome? And was that outcome a real-world outcome as opposed to a classroom outcome? So, for example, real-world outcome: the students did a job interview and selected who got the job. Classroom outcome: the students correctly matched pictures with their definitions. Was the focus on meaning, or was it talking about language? And I also analysed whether it built on earlier tasks. Now, in order to see if these things were actually engaging, I observed whether the students remained on task. All the students were doing what they were supposed to be doing. Most of them, some of them, few of them. And the results were quite revealing. I found that when all of the constituents, the task constituents, were fulfilled, so 6 ticks in that section I just showed you, all of the students were on task. When 5 of those task constituents were fulfilled, again, all of the students were on task. We start moving down, and if only 1 or 2 of these things were fulfilled, then some or most, occasionally all, but some or most of the students were on task, which means that others were starting to get distracted, starting to chat, scribbling, doing whatever. They weren't involved. They had switched off, basically. Okay, and the other thing that I thought was important, because there is a distinction between whether a student is on task or whether a student is actually enjoying the activity. Because a student could be looking bored, but is actually thinking hard. And vice versa. A student could be appearing really kind of happy and, enjoying themselves. However, it's not because of what's happening in the lesson. It could be because their friend has just reminded them of a joke or something. Okay? So, it was difficult to kind of know whether... So you could consider it difficult to observe, because we don't know exactly what's happening in the students' heads. However, I think most of us would be able to differentiate whether a student is involved in the activity and enjoying it, or just enjoying themselves because they're making jokes, and especially if you understand Spanish. So, I'll just show you one more chart. Here we've got activities where the students were visibly enjoying themselves. Okay, and you'll see that when they were enjoying themselves, every single time the activity or the task was communicative. Most of the time it was one of the task types. It was a listing, sorting, matching, comparing, doing something creative. Most of the time it was a meaning-based activity. It was not talking about the construction of the passive, whatever. Virtually all the time there was a clear outcome to it. Half the time that was a real world, half the time it was a classroom outcome. And most of the time it built on earlier tasks, which is also kind of important. If you switch from one thing to another, the students are less likely to enjoy it. But if your activities build on each other, the students are getting more out of it and they're enjoying themselves. Okay? Now, this is the last thing I'll show you. Here's a list of activities or tasks. which students visibly enjoyed. They really enjoyed these activities. So have a look at those and imagine, would you enjoy those activities? Okay, would you enjoy those activities, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Now, if I've slightly bored you, that was my intention. Hopefully I haven't. One more quote. So, students are most likely to engage. These are maybe the two most important things. Accomplishing concrete tasks and learning new content. They're actually learning something new. Okay. Now, that was the first activity. And I would want you to analyse it with these questions, very similar to what I did with the classes I observed. Okay?
So where was the first activity?
So this was the first activity, you've just done it. You've listened to me talk about tasks,
Yeah.
Willis, Noonan, etc. and understand it. A TED talk about the correct way to tie shoelaces.
I never use it with kids though, you?
What's that?
That TED talk about time shoes.
I haven't used that one myself.
Oh, okay. What you've seen it like me, but I've never used it.
I observed another teacher using that.
Oh,
Actually.
Tick or cross.
Okay. So can you answer these questions about... Oh, you've done it, sorry. Okay.
Is it quickly?
Let's get his answers covered. Okay. Right. So, what was their interaction?
Not really.
Not much. Not much. Did you have to do any of these things?
No.
Not really. Was there a focus on meaning?
Yeah,
We kind of was, because you were explaining the statistics and
Yeah.
we saw like different representations of it.
we could think about how we'd use it. In
Yeah.
real world.
Hi there. Well, this is a language. This is a training session, not a language class.
Yeah.
So we don't really have the distinction of meaning and form in this one. So this one is kind of, by the way, clear outcome.
No.
Not exactly. You're supposed to understand it. Okay, so it's an implied outcome. And does it resemble something you do in the real world?
Yes. Yeah.
For an adult.
Yes.
For an adult, exactly.
For a child, no.
In a lecture.
Yeah.
In a lecture, you're supposed you would do this.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between you and teens. Okay. You've come here with intrinsic motivation. You came here because you wanted to learn something. You're ready to listen. A teenager is a completely different animal. So now we're going to be doing some activities, and after each one, I want you to quickly fill in the chart to decide how task-like it is. Right. You'll decide if they were tasks. Now, first one, you can do this on the back of the sheet. Okay. Now, the first one is called both, one, neither. Okay. I use this at the beginning of class. I'd like you to. Only one of you has to do this. No, actually, both of you can do this. Make 3 columns. Hi, what's your name, sorry?
Sure.
Sean. Okay, I'm Simon. Can I put you with Jacqueline and Roz there?
Yeah.
Okay. So move your table over. Okay.
top of the first.
Sorry. Okay. At the top of the first column, and this group, hold off for a second because you're a group of 3. Okay? So you two and you two. At the top of the first column, I'd like to write both. Okay, in the middle one, 1. On the right, neither. Here we go. Different ones for you because you're a group of 3. So this group, I'd like you to write all. On the top left one, all. At the top of the column, all. Then 1 or some. No, in the middle one, 1 or some.
Ah.
And on the right, none. Okay. Now, very simply, you've got 2 minutes to speak to each other. I want you to ask each other questions about what you've done in the last week. Okay? If both of you did the same thing, write a keyword in both. For example, if you both went to the cinema, write cinema in both. Okay? If only one of you did it, write cinema in one. Okay? And this group, obviously. Okay. 2 minutes.
My parents came to visit, so it's open to the Burma, the Bod temple, you know, the view of the city.
Did you meet friends?
The internet?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I've read it.
I read about the auction.
Oh, we did. Yes.
Read a book.
No.
Into the car.
Did you? Yeah.
But I've read an old
I went to the
No.
So
I bought a new capital. Did you?
I
the shells.
Yeah.
No, what? Yes, I did know what I was doing. I really took advantage of the day.
I petted a dog.
I did that kind of as much as you can do at a work day. It was not a problem for me. We had different lights over here.
Yeah, I don't go to cinema these days with babies. Have you cooked?
Me neither.
Have you been rock climbing?
Yeah. Did you put some eggs together?
My husband did, I didn't. How about you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did.
I did. Oh, you made breakfast as well?
I made a curry.
Oh,
Yeah, she was so long.
I'm scared now.
That was so long.
Metro?
Buying clothes.
Keywords.
Oh, I had a wall for the next one. I can't even
There we go. That's the rocket. That's the time. Okay, so after the activity, I'd say which column had the most words in it?
One.
Over there.
Some.
Okay, and over there.
One.
Okay, so quite different. And then I'd maybe say, what was the most exciting thing that you did in the last week?
Read a book?
We both did, or just me?
Doesn't matter.
Petted a dog.
Over there.
Pampered myself on Mondays. It was all
Okay, and over there.
Had a picnic.
He made a curry, I thought it was quite exciting.
There we go.
I was the problem.
Fantastic. Okay. So instantly, so instantly you've got a lot of communication. Now,
I think it also depends on the age, because I mean I do something not as complicated as this, as we're waiting for kids to come in. Talking about teenagers, you know, if they're 14, 13, the only thing they say to me when I ask them, how was your weekend? Oh, I spent my weekend studying.
Well, in this, I'm asking them to talk to each other, okay? Which is,
Oh no, but I mean,
It's not, yeah, it's not,
Okay.
the interaction isn't one student to teacher, it's
exactly.
between us.
yeah,
Exactly.
okay.
So, but the point is, you can, you're practicing questions, you have the past simple, you've got short questions, and then afterwards, you can elicit from them the forms. We both went, or both of us went. Okay, so you've got that. You've got a lot of grammar that's just implied in that. Now, instead of teaching those items, both, one, neither, instead of doing a lesson around that, if you do start your class with this activity every class for 6 months, you can, at the beginning, hear how well they can do this. Mentally take a note of it, or physically take a note of it, and little by little feed in what they want. So, okay, one class you'll do we both. Maybe 2 weeks later you can do both of us. Okay, and little by little they're improving it. Rather than teaching them this once, and then for the next year or 5 years they make mistakes with it. Okay, so one of the things that's very important with tasks and task-based learning is the repetition of the task, feeding back on how well they did it, feeding in language that they need. Okay, so if you go back to the table and just look at that for a second and analyse it with the questions, and then we'll move on to the next activity.
Yes.
So already you're seeing a stark difference, I think, between the first activity, which was listening to me, and the second one. Okay? Now, we're going to move on to another. Okay, I have a description of the task there, and also on your handouts there is a link to this presentation, so you can go back and have a look at these whenever you need to. Now, the next one, entitled a Quizlet 321. This is something that I've done with exam levels and pre-exam levels. Okay, so basically from level 5 up, I think you could do it. Yeah. However, I mean, it's completely adaptable. You can do it with lower levels. This is what you're looking at with these cards. You've got your questions, you've got your opponent's answers, and you've got a scorecard as well. Okay, I'll hand out these in a second. We'll have, let's see, let's have 2 versus 2, and 1 versus 2. So somebody over here, Sean, would you mind coming over? Okay. Right. So I'd like you to turn the chair and you're facing this way. You two here. So I can turn your chairs and face them. Okay. Right. What you've got here is word formation. Okay. It won't be difficult, because you're obviously native teachers. Although if you get some wrong, go and brush up.
Confusion in and on.
Word formation we're looking at here. Okay, now,
So we only look at this side.
okay, yeah,
Just look at that.
don't touch the cards, don't move them.
Can't touch this.
Okay, okay. Now, you can answer the questions in any order. You'll do it orally. And if you get the answer, your partner will tell you if you're correct, because they can see the answers. If you get it correct the first time, you get 3 points. Okay? write the answer, write the word in the 3 points column. Should you get it wrong the first time, try again for 2 points. Get it wrong again, try again for 1. Still not right? Well, 0 points, I'm afraid.
I don't want to do this on Saturday.
Okay?
Yes.
So have a quick go at that for a couple of minutes.
So,
Okay, off you go.
Dependence.
Well,
No, you don't.
Well,
after you
discuss it.
so, for example, I cannot tell
After
between
you
those
sat,
twins
do you know where it
difference.
is?
You have to answer this. They have your
We've
answer.
got them.
We have to say
So
the
discuss this together.
difference.
Yeah, so on your
So I was doing it right.
I've got one on.
No,
We
you
have
have to
to
answer.
give you. We have to give you.
Easy your question. You
Yes,
answer this.
exactly. So I was answering
But I think I've got the wrong one.
You must
Oh,
have.
sorry, yeah. So
Right.
I answer is the dismissal
Dependence.
inside the car, I guess. So that would be the answer for that.
Okay, try again for 2
Try
points.
So is this one the BBC's coverage?
So we just,
Okay.
Is that right?
And write the
Yeah.
word in.
Oh, sorry.
The distance to the
Yeah.
UK.
as we're just going through
Chris's
the answers.
resemblance.
Dependent.
Ah.
Are you going
So it's going to be easy for us.
It's going to be easy.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We made a mistake.
Ah,
That's the question we read
Sorry,
out.
yes.
Okay.
So you can have you can go with the first one.
Resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad at spelling. is what
I see 3 odds for the new order.
Yeah, in order is fine.
Offended.
Okay. Here, did you get the first one yet?
Offence.
Yeah.
You have to write the word
Yeah,
in.
lost.
Are you
How
not
many
looking?
points you got?
Okay.
Look at us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the first one? Attendance.
Dependency. I depends on
What's the next one?
Offence.
Frequency.
Okay. So 3 points, offence.
Relevance.
Yeah.
No.
Inaccuracy.
Is it with E or with A?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for
You'd be
that.
writing the words. You'd be
Oh,
writing
yeah,
the words.
I'll give them.
But of course they're going to be.
Yeah.
I know that we hesitate to ask, and we're going to have to
It's
ask.
without reading the
But we've got
whole
the,
sentence.
the root word here, so you would know it would be
Okay, this would be for your own words.
yes.
VA or VE?
So we're writing them down.
You write your own words.
Oh, right,
Okay. Your own
So you only have
Spelling.
inaccuracies. You only get one. That's
So how long would this take?
Competency.
Oh, that's
Or with
all.
them, it could take
Competency.
20 minutes,
Oh,
even half an hour.
It's only checking
Because
spelling as well.
because if you look, all the colours are different. So you can just pick these up, put them on the table, and off you go again.
Literacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they'd probably be making mistakes with spelling, wouldn't they? That's why, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
do they use marks? If they get it, they lose marks, I think they spell it incorrectly.
In use of English, yes.
Yeah.
They don't take any marks.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Just spell it wrong, yeah.
If the spelling is wrong,
So
that's
that's really
okay.
the importance of it.
So.
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, so we'll leave that there. You see how it works. Even with my very slightly unclear instructions, you still managed to figure out how to do it. And they would also. So, okay, now there are a few things to say about this. Susie asked, how long would this take? I said, well, in a FCE class, or CE class, this could take 20 minutes just with one card. And then, as you'll see, all of the cards are on different colours. So that's quite important. It means that you've not done the blue and the yellow ones. Okay, I can just pick these up and give those to you, and off you go again. Okay, so this could you could do this for easily a whole hour if you wanted to. The scorecard is important. Why is it important?
They learn from their mistakes.
They learn from their mistakes, exactly. Here, you've got a record of the things you know, the things you almost know, things you don't really know, and the things you have no idea about. Okay? So the students will go away with a sheet of paper, and they'll know what they have to say for the future. Okay? Now, in order to make this, I've used Quizlet, which you can go and you can use. Just sign up for. You can create your own cards, or just find ones which have already been done. I very quickly found these. So just typed in word formation, found a set of cards, and then I chose the print option. Just grabbed some coloured cards, all different colours.
Somebody else made sense, yes.
Somebody else actually created this, yeah. And you'll see that there's actually a couple of spelling mistakes on there.
I know that.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
That could be another task.
Okay, but
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
as I mentioned before, building on tasks is important, okay? So once the students have done this, what can we then do? So I came up with an extension activity, which is a drama improvisation, okay? So now, you will turn back and go again with those partners in a second. What you would do, okay, you'd think of a situation, or maybe you can elicit one from the students if they've got a bit of imagination. This is one I came up with. Right, imagine this situation with two people. You've discovered a snake in your bathroom. You call the zoo. Please come and get this snake. Okay? Now, somebody from the zoo comes and rings the door. Okay? And there you start your conversation. Your objective is, in a minute, I'll give you a minute, or, well, I'll give you for this, I'll do a minute, but maybe in the class 2 to 3 minutes. Use as many of the words, it can be from either card, okay? Use as many of those words as possible, okay? It's improvisation, so don't plan it, don't write anything down, okay? So we'll do this now. That's your situation. Can you throw these words into your conversation, alright? And to make it competitive, you would see how many you used in a minute and how many you used in a minute, and whoever used the most would be the winner. Okay? Right. Well, because we've got a strange number here, let's have you two do it together. Okay? You two do the conversation together. And here we'll have 3 people doing the conversation together. I'll listen to how many you used. So we can have 2 people in the house with a snake, 1 person from the zoo.
Hello, sir. Please could you use the entrance?
Oh my god, God, you're here. I thought it was a package, but it's you.
Is the snake alive?
There's so much news right now. It's just reluctance in your approach.
It could be happening anyway with the job. My employers often my adequacy for the job. Mostly because I'm also...
There's a vacancy at the for that looking after snakes.
I applied for veterinary jobs with my performance in this job certainly would indicate that I've got any chance of getting that.
I don't think I'm done for the intimacy.
What do you intend to keep the snakes storing?
The only thing they have to
We do the thing which is least controversial to avoid.
survive.
Usually we would put them in I
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Okay, that was very good, and I had some creative uses of it. Now, what you were all doing it simultaneously then, but what you could do in the class, you can have one pair doing the speaking, the other pair listening. Okay, how many are they using? Okay, here we've got an odd number of groups, but obviously when you've got 15, it's very easy to create teams, good teams.
Yeah.
So, after the activity, I would list how did you use the words? Give an example, give me a sentence, how did you use the words? So from each group, tell me how you used one of them.
I'm questioning your competence at the moment.
Very good, we've got a very inept snake catcher. Okay, over there.
I took offence to the way the zoo spoke to me when I told him about the problem.
Right, and the word was?
Offence.
Offence. Very good. Over there.
Will the snake be kept in storage?
Phil started telling us about his work life, and I said, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the intimacy of this conversation. Trying to fit it in.
Absolutely brilliant, exactly. So, you've had a good time doing that, and I've done this with level 5, level 7 students, and they also, the results are similar. They have really kind of creative conversations with it. The problem with the first activity, and it's not, well, the problem is really the use of English, is that you've got kind of very teacher-created sentences, haven't you? They're very decontextualized. They're not in a text. They're not in a dialogue or anything. They just. However, I do this because this is what they will see in an exam. So for that reason, it is valid. However, just to do use of English without kind of exploiting this language a bit further, I find is kind of a bit of a wasted opportunity. So by doing something like this, you're bringing the language to life. It's going to be way more memorable.
Yeah.
And what you can do, if you can draw their attention to the scorecard that they have, and you can say, well, I encourage you to try to use the words from the 0 and the 1 column. Okay, the words that you didn't know so well. And you can ask, well, how many of these did you say? How many of those did you say? Okay? Right. Let's move on. Let's do another one. Okay. I'm going to do a vocab battle. Now, Right. This one looks like this. The text is small. Don't worry, you don't have to read it. But an A4 sheet, it looks like this. You cut it down the middle, give this to one person, give this to another, sitting opposite each other so they can't see the other person's paper. Basically, you've got a sentence, you've got a definition, and you've got the word. You read the definition to the person opposite, and they choose one of their words to answer it. They choose from this box, okay? And then you take turns, okay? Then you read this one, your partner chooses the correct word from their box, okay? So, very simple activity. I encourage this, I basically tell the students not to go 1, 2, 3, 4, because then they're all doing it in the same order and they can hear the answers, okay? So, when you do it, mix up the order, okay? These are in English, you're going to do it in Spanish. Right, you ready? Okay, so Hannah and Jackie. One for you. Sam and Rose. Okay. And here we'll have the 2. Okay. Now, sorry, but just before you start, you can use the same scorecards, okay, as well. So correct first time, 3 points. Ron, try again for 2. Use the same scorecard. Do you want another one? Another one. Great.
Formar parte de un proceso selectivo.
Right. Necesitas
Pedir, formar parte de un proceso selectivo.
Necesitas firmar, es 3 points, sigues un trabajo.
Y el cuaderno. Arriba.
Okay, yeah.
Pedir,
Okay, so it would be 3 points. Write it down.
formar parte de
Una
un
persona
proceso
que trabaja
selectivo.
para una empresa.
Pero de los tiempos que trabajas en
Oh, wait, okay. You got the answers.
Try again.
Tú tienes
Yeah, I've got.
¿Quién te da la
Una persona que trabaja para una
But that's what
empresa.
I was going to ask you. The word is pedir that I'm looking for. Okay.
Una persona que compra
El
algo,
formulario
por
que
ejemplo,
viene
en
antes de
América.
hacer una entrevista.
trabajo.
2 points.
Cuando no tienes
Personas
Desempleado.
con las
Una persona que compra algo, por ejemplo,
Palabras que
Hola.
describen las personas que trabajan
Sí.
en un lugar.
Lo consigues al
Palabras
finalizar,
que
después de
describen las personas que trabajan
te puede ayudar a
Periodo
conseguir
de
un
tiempo
trabajo.
que trabajas en un día.
solicitud de...
El periodo de tiempo que trabajas en un día.
Repeat question again.
Really good. Lo consigues al finalizar tu
necesitas
educación. Te puede ayudar a conseguir un trabajo.
cuando consigues
Oh,
un trabajo.
Contrato.
Sí.
en un lugar.
Una persona que trabaja
Personal.
para una empresa.
Palabra es
Yeah.
personas que trabajan en un lugar.
Personal.
Persona que
Titulación.
Necesario.
Ah, sorry, Michael. Cuando no tienes un trabajo.
Desempleado.
Cuando
Cuando solo trabajas unas horas.
Bueno, ese es role planificación.
Okay.
Trabajo de
Sí.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Stop there. You could have gone on. This activity I found works really well with every level. You can, obviously adapt it to the choose the language that you want. You need to. It takes a little bit of time to create this, but once you've done it, you've got an activity which really works, and it takes maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and with feedback and everything. Obviously, you wouldn't just do this cold. You'd maybe have some kind of context before. You'd maybe teach them these words in a dialogue, or show them these words in a dialogue. So this wouldn't be necessarily just to teach the language straight away, rather reinforce it, practice it, revise it. Okay? And again, with the feedback, you've got a record on it. Similarly to the previous activity where I had a drama improvisation, you could do the same drama improvisation with this language. Or you basically just got a set of words, and you need to use these words. These ones are all related to jobs. So I did a kind of individual fluency speaking exercise to follow this up. So, think of a job, give that job to your partner. Okay, so you say to Hannah, you are a fireman.
Fireman.
There you go, that's the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
Right, you're a firefighter. You've got 1 minute. Okay, talk about your job. Okay, and off you go.
Well, as a firefighter, I don't work freelance, and I work very closely with my colleagues because it's a dangerous situation. So,
Okay. Perfect.
Oh, she's good.
She's doing it really well, and as she's doing that, Sam is listening and ticking off how many she's using. Okay? So always good to follow up the activity, exploit it in some other way. Now we're going to do hopefully a couple more before we end. We're going to continue with the Spanish. to give you a good idea of what your students are going through. Okay? Now this one is a writing race, and it goes like this. Okay, we've got some phrases, and again these would have been introduced, they would have already seen these in an example text or whatever. These phrases are all used for a formal letter. So, I would give my students, I drill the language, we pronounce it, although it's in writing, but still useful to pronounce it well. I give my students maybe a minute to try to memorize these phrases. So, off you go, a minute to memorize. Okay, 30 seconds. Five, four, three, two, one. Okay. Now, don't write anything, but with your partner just speaking, can you remember the phrases? Okay.
And that's the public. It's everything discussed.
Yeah.
It's basically for the above reasons.
Yeah. For the above reasons, for the reasons discussed.
Exponent is to show. You show in a letter. For the above reasons. Okay, basically. Obviously, your students would know. You wouldn't just give them these cold. You would know the phrases, the meaning of the phrases. Right now, here we'll have a group of three all racing against each other. Okay, here we'll have you versus you versus you. Now, so we've got the same, but we've got colours. Now I'm going to shout out a colour, and you're going to race to write the phrase. Whoever writes it first correctly. Sorry? One of these phrases. Wait a minute. Whoever writes it first correctly gets a point. Okay? Green.
Yeah. I don't think it's right.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we go back, we check. Did you get it correct? Yes. Yeah? Okay, so give yourself a point if you were the first. Next one. Yellow.
Yeah, done.
You were faster than me.
You didn't write it, Jacqueline.
No, but it's
But that's not the point. What would you do if your student said, "Oh yeah, I know it. It's up here"?
I totally agree.
Slap it.
And when they do the exam, they get it wrong. Okay? That's exactly why we're doing it. Okay? Right. Next one. White. White.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's you.
Yes.
Okay. Then we go back. Did you get it correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Pink or purple?
You got it correct.
Pink.
Good. Spelling's wrong.
Yeah, good spelling as well.
Yeah.
Which one do you have?
Left-handedness.
Yeah, make it, that's alright.
you get it correct? Yeah? Okay, great. So who was the winner?
Me.
Okay, who was the winner?
Right.
She did it right. We'll see how she does in the exam.
Yes.
And who was the winner of that? Well done, Susie. Okay, very good. Now, I've done this, and immediately after said, okay, now write your letter. And they actually use these expressions. They use them, okay? So I think very often an activity like this is something that we kind of skip. We give them a letter, and we say, okay, highlight the phrases, the useful phrases, and then we say, okay, now go and write your letter. What happens? They don't use any of the phrases that you've highlighted, okay? So just a simple activity like this. They enjoy it, there's an outcome, there's a winner, and they're getting writing practice without moaning about it. You say, okay, write some sense. Oh, right, we've got to write. Okay. If we've got 5 minutes, is everyone okay for 5 minutes? Yeah? Okay. This is the last activity. So, adapt a dialogue. Hannah watched me do this activity with a Reds class. So, like most of the things I'm showing you today, very adaptable. This is the example I'm going to give you is from a Senior 5 class. There's a unit on kind of fame. And there's lots of vocabulary which just appears very cold in the unit. So in order to bring this to life, and I've got Frank O'Connor to thank for the kind of the use of dialogues. He champions the use of dialogues because it really gives everything a context. So I put together a dialogue, an interview with Justin Bieber, and the highlighted the words in bold. It's not very clearly in bold, but on the paper you'll see them. There are some vocabulary like scandal, notorious, paparazzi. Okay, these words are in bold. So what I would do, I'd maybe do the dialogue once so they can hear some good pronunciation. I'd maybe do the whole dialogue together as a class. Then they can do it individually in pairs, and then the next part would be to adapt the dialogue. And I'm going to leave it absolutely free. You adapt it in any way you want. You change it as much as you want. You can change 1 or 2 words. You can change 50% of it. Up to you. Okay? So I'll just give you a minute. Just scan read it, and then see if you can do this dialogue, but making your own changes to it.
Do you let them watch it at any point?
Sorry?
Do you show them the dialogue at any point? Or is it just...
Okay. So yeah, I got this idea. Well, there is an actual interview with Justin Bieber on funnyordie.com, which is quite funny, and it begins with these exact words. So this is kind of, and I do show them some of the real thing, which is kind of like now we're feeding in the authentic materials, which I'll be talking about next week. So try this, scan read it for 30 seconds, then see if you can adapt it on the fly, as it were.
Who are you then, Hannah?
I was thinking I'd be Zach. Is he in on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this isn't the real interview.
Oh, it's
No, I wrote it.
Just the beginning.
This part, yeah, that is word for word the same
Okay.
as the real interview. The rest I wrote. Okay. Alright, so whenever you're ready.
Go on then.
So we already know these.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Between Two Conifers.
The words involved. I actually used this to introduce language for the
Like
first time.
yesterday, Justin Bieber just
here, or you
being
can take turns
really
being
Well,
pointing
to,
to talk to you.
Likewise, it's pronounced Bieber.
Sorry?
Likewise, it's pronounced Bieber.
Fever, fever, whatever.
Okay, do you want to take turns being
Some
tested?
people say, yeah,
That's
Hi, welcome to another Things to Yesterday, just being on.
Some people have it, some people don't. I'm just jealous.
Okay, so what about the music? Some people have described
First of all, I'm deaf. I'm very
notorious
deaf.
and you've had some fights with
through the streets of Big Ben, where the police are.
What about your recent
Once again.
Nice.
In my defense, I think it's really
Media, just doing it for money. They love it. Get more advertisements on the internet. It's rubbish. Sorry, it's trash.
You think people really care that much that they're gonna...
You know, they write a lot of lies. I had some problems with this.
They don't care about anything.
So
They
speaking
just want the
of
money. That's what
money,
they're
you've
interested
described as
in. Money.
oh dear Carol,
People are saying that
if you didn't
go
have
at your
out of
media
this
team
world
is better at their
PR
job.
team working absolutely flat out
Then basically what I'm saying to you is just
the
that
screaming
you're
board.
Like I say that I make more
Well,
and then it's
it's
just.
climate, isn't it?
Then why do you value
So Mr. Tree, what's your biggest pay packet that you've had?
Okay.
What's your biggest accomplishment?
Alright, 3, 2, 1, and we'll stop there. That was really good. As you can see, it's really nice to have a framework, something to work around. You could give them the condition that they can't change the words in bold because that's the language that you really want to focus on, but everything else they're free to change. And like with one of the kind of features of task-based learning is again task repetition. They do the task, you monitor them, how well are they doing it. Afterwards you feedback, they can reflect on how well they did it, and then change partners, do the task again. Okay, so you don't have to just do this once and then it's a throwaway task. They can do this 5 times, and they'll really get a lot out of it. Okay, so I hope you've taken away something, and we didn't. Again, I think if you look at analysing these, you'll realise that most of the rest of the activities that we did do fulfil most of the criteria constituents.
That's really good.
Okay, thanks.
When's the next one?
Next one's Thursday.
Same time.
Same time, same place, next Thursday. Any more?
Germany Spurs, please.
You can have them if you want.
I can send out an email with the links to the
Simon, yeah, bring the link.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can look at the print, you can print it out and share it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you go on to the presentation,